Have you ever played a computer game where the computer deals cards or throws dice or even spins a roulette wheel? Did you ever wonder how the random outcome of those events was simulated? Well, in this session, you'll discover how to use VBA's RAND function to easily generate random numbers. Before jumping onto the computer, though, you must understand that the random numbers generated by VBA are not truly random. This is why you may hear them referred to as pseudo-random numbers. A complete discussion of random numbers and the theory behind generating them would really require a book-length treatment, so I won't go into it here. But why is this distinction important? Because if you build a game of chance based on the random number generator in VBA, and then you develop a system which consistently beats your game, I wouldn't take your life savings to the nearest casino. The games in such venues generate numbers that are truly more random than those in VBA. In Visual Basic, it is the RND function, or the RAND function, that is used to generate random numbers. In order to show you how to use the RAND function, go ahead and open up the companion workbook provided for this session, as I've done on the screen here. And then you'll want to go over to the Visual Basic editor. And over in the editor, we're going to be working in Module 1, so make sure that you click on it in the Project Explorer right here. And this is a very simple macro in this module that illustrates how RAND works. The number returned by RAND, and this is a very important thing, the number returned by the RAND function is equal to or greater than 0 and always less than 1. So it's a decimal number in between those two parameters. Something to be aware of when using VBA's random number generator is that each time you start Excel and run the macro, under ordinary circumstances, the same series of numbers are generated. To ensure a different set of numbers, you would use the randomize statement. I can go ahead and I can just put that randomized statement right up here. If I can type. And the randomized statement will allow you to have it seed the number differently, so it returns a different sequence of numbers whenever you use the RAND function. Typically, randomized would be issued when your macro is first started, as I've done here. You can, if you'd like, though, issue it more than once. It's entirely up to you. Randomized reseeds the random number generator, resulting in a different sequence of numbers each time that your macro is run. Now I'm going to go ahead and run this macro so that you can see exactly what occurs. Notice that the RND function is used to assign a value to the SNG helter-skelter variable, and then that is just displayed in a message box. So you can see that the random number in this case is 0.8619196. And if we run the macro again, you'll see that it returns a different random number. Again, it can be greater than or equal to 0 and always less than 1. Earlier I stressed that the RAND function returns a value between 0 and 1. You might be wondering how you can modify what it returns so that you end up with a value that is between a different set of values. For instance, you may want to generate a random number that is between 1 and 10 or between 50 and 75. That just takes a little bit of ingenuity to figure out, as I show you over here in Module 2. In the random2 macro, what I do is, well, the important thing is this function right here, or this formula right here, where we assign a value to iResult. We use the iBiggest variable, the iSmallest variable, and again the iSmallest variable. The formula may actually be a little bit confusing to you, so I want to take some time to step through it. I'm actually going to work through the math for this formula so you can see what it does each step of the way. As the code shows, iBiggest is 75 and iSmallest is 50. In this case, the formula would be rendered as this. The next step is that the portion of the formula within the inner parentheses is executed, so that the formula then becomes this. At this point, the RND function returns a value between 0 and 1. Remember, it can be 0, but never ever 1. That's the way the rand function works. Let's say that the largest value that it could return is 0.9999999. That would mean that the formula then looks like this. At this point, the multiplication is performed, resulting in the formula looking this way. And finally, the addition is done, gives us a result of what you see on the screen right here. And then that is assigned to the iResult variable, and since the iResult variable is an integer, it truncates everything to the right of the decimal point, giving us the largest possible value, which is 75. If you want to return a random value that is in a different range, in other words, it's not between 50 and 75, but is in some other range, all you need to do is change the values that you assign to I biggest and I smallest, but you just need to make sure that you assign the larger value to I biggest. I'm going to go ahead and run this macro so you can see how it actually works in real time. It works very, very quickly, and you can see that the random number that was returned, again within that range, is 68. And if I run it again, we should get an entirely different number, 73 this time. Run it again, we got 73 one more time. Run it again, 65. You can see that it returns a value that's between that range of 50 and 75. The numeric functions provided in VBA are quite handy, and I have no doubt you'll use them in many of your macros. In this session, I've focused on a couple of those functions, specifically the rand and randomize functions. Now in the next session, I'll show you how you can format your numeric values so that if your macros produce any output, those numbers will look just the way that you want.